But I will actually take you through another journey about how we can actually enter the space of abundance. Let me tell you a few words about how I went into that journey. So about 24 years ago, I ended up in the streets of London. I come from a war-torn country, and I lost half of my family, and I could not speak English. I had no friends, I had nobody. So I ended up really sleeping rough under the bridges of London. In that journey, I would like you to imagine for a second an 18-year-old boy losing half of a family, being in a foreign country, what's going on through this little boy's mind, with nobody to talk to, with no friends, and absolutely no home over his head. And all he can see around him is the abundance which is everybody is enjoying. And all he can think about, whether he will ever reconnect to his own family. So I would like you to take that moment for a second and reflect in your own lives and be grateful, first of all, for being in this moment with myself, with yourself, at Rawfest, and everybody you have in your family. Just send them a quick thought of love. Just close your eyes and just literally send that love to them, and that gratefulness that we are alive, and also for being in our lives. Because we tend to often regret things that once somebody passes away, or we lose a relationship, or we lose a job, and then we tend to reflect how it was. But we never stopped in that moment to truly be grateful for having that moment. So that boy went through a lot of emotional, I was at the lowest you can potentially be. That boy also faced a severe illness at the age of 9 that left him traumatized and paralyzed for almost 3 years in hospital. So while the guy who's standing in here with full confidence and talking to you guys about abundance, and I will take you through a journey, I wasn't this guy. I actually became this guy. How I did that? I believe with all of my heart that each one of you, each one of us, have the tools, the ability to transcend to higher states of awareness. I would like you to think about it. How many of you have TVs at home? TV? No? You might have iPads, mobile phones, electronic equipment. Okay. So what all of those things have in common?
Electricity.
One. What else? Distraction. Very good one. What else?
Communication.
Communication. Can you elaborate?
Well, with the TV, they can project messages into your home.
Brilliant. We're getting there. What else?
Mobile telephone, you can communicate both ways with messages.
So how do we get what we see on TV, or how do we receive that information in all of those devices that you guys mentioned?
Very good question.
Was that through your eyes? No. I'm talking about what happens. Let's imagine for a second we're tuning on abundance program that teaches us about abundance. At the press of a button, we can choose almost thousands of channels. I would like you to go beyond that, because that's the channel you want to be on. You want to be at the channel in which you can actually receive and create whatever you want in your life, because each one of you have different desires. The question I have for each one of you, what is it that creates that every single program that we can tune into? What is it that creates every single device that can operate and we can communicate with one another?
Choice.
Choice. What else?
Thought, comprehension of
Technology. So what is two things we need to have in the scenario of TV, for instance, for us to be able to watch a program? Interest. But what about the actual TV? How does the actual TV work?
Electricity.
Electricity is one. What else? TV without something else will not work. What is that something else?
Radio waves.
Frequency. So we need a signal, guys. We need a signal. So when we need a signal, somebody needs to transmit that signal. Agree?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. So we are a vibrational beings living in a vibrational universe. We know that through science. We can experience that in ourselves. But no one taught us how to vibrate at the frequency of the channel we want to have in our life. Unless you guys are different to me. But I wasn't the person knowing the law of attraction, knowing the universal laws, knowing quantum physics, and knowing science. So I went on a journey, 10 years journey, that I worked 20 hours a day. First of all, to get myself off the streets. Secondly, to make friends. Thirdly, to have a roof over my head and to have a job that I can pay for my education. So in this journey, I graduated from UCL, top graduate student from UCL. At the same time, I had to worry about my family. We were in the war zone, and I never knew whether I would ever see them again. So you can imagine for a second the turmoil that happens in myself and each one of you when you're going through a life experience. That life experience will create that signal, and therefore will experience the program that we actually see in our lives. So the lovely lady earlier on mentioned about the experience about money and all of that. Absolutely agree with that. However, one of the stuffs you can do also is about looking at what am I really vibrating from within myself. It's sort of, we often do not stop and truly understand the signals that we vibrate. I went through law of attraction. I studied the emotional intelligence. I studied the thought, the psychology. I studied the top teachers. And I wanted to truly understand what is it that some people can heal fast and other people don't. Yet, we have the same TV, the same body. Some people told me it was the thought, and I heard a lot of talks in here today. Other people say it's the feeling. Yet I meet a lot of people when I travel around the world who have the right feeling, but they don't get what they want. And they have the right thought, and they don't get what they want. Because that is only looking at the cause and the effect world. If we go back and look at the source of the energy, we look at everything that transmits and everything that we are, that we receive, then we can find out where the true abundance lives. Often, people admire technology, admire cars, admire things that which are. And the question I have for any one of you, and myself, where is that coming from? Where is the true wisdom, true source comes from? And when you tap into that source, that's where you'll be fully connected. For many of people I work with, some of them are top spiritual teachers, and yet they experience very poor material background. You know, you go into their life, you see this amazing, tremendous wisdom. And I see many clients who are entrepreneurs, who left their corporate world, they are healers, they are coaches, they are therapists and everything else. And they absolutely adore what they want. I mean, they're passionate about their stuff. But then they tell me I'm not receiving. And I'm asking them, what is the signal you are sending? And when we work at the frequency in which abundance lives, we shift, transcend, and we attract opportunities and people without any effort. No thought, no feeling. It's the stillness. When you vibrate and you radiate light, you will see how people get attracted to light. Every thought, every emotion, every feeling that we have will impact that light. But in the space of light, how many of you believe you are light? Light beings. Truly believe you are light beings. How many of you know the science of that? What it truly means? No? Okay. Well, I've studied science. I will explain to you in a scientific way, because I meet a lot of healers who do most amazing job, but when they meet clients, they cannot sign them up. So I teach them some little technique, and I'll teach you guys in here. It's basically, if we look at everything that moves, it goes to a frequency. I don't have a pen in here, otherwise I will draw it for you guys. So, vibration is a frequency. Light, the tiniest part of the light, moves through that frequency. Love exists somewhere down there. Where do you guys think love exists? In this part or this part? Yes, but I don't think I can do it in there. Oh no, I know. So I would like you just to imagine in your head. It's like everybody's seen a wave? Yes? So usually people associate the positive side, things with the positive emotions, with love and joy and everything else, and the negative side of it with negative emotion. So I would like to invite you guys now to tell me, where does love sit? Curiosity. Imagine for a second, everything is a vibration. Vibration travels through a wave. And we have the positive, and we have the negative. So if you look at the timeline, and we have the wave going up and down, and going like that through space. Anything in space travels through waves. We emit the signal in a wave. So I would like you to tell me, where do you think love sits in that wave?
All of it.
In the middle, where?
It's in the shortest curve.
In the, which part?
So, in the shortest curve.
In the shortest curve. Okay, we have a shortest curve in here. For you? Through.
All of it.
All of it. So,
Because it's a travelling wave. If it's a standing wave, you'd have a stationary wave, whereas
it's a traveling. We're talking about vibration. We are a vibrational being. The universe works in that way. So he says all of it. Can you explain what you mean by all of it?
well, if you watch something like a duck or a bird on the sea,
Yeah.
it goes up and down.
Yeah.
So it's not always up.
Mm.
The wave moves through, so it's both up and down. It's the whole thing.
But where does love sit? Where is that unconditional love that every human being on this planet is looking for? What is love, guys? Who's gonna go first? Pardon? It's in the heart, but what is it? Because I heard today love is feeling. Who agrees with that?
I'd say it's
Feeling.
feeling.
Raise your hands who believes love is feeling. Love is an energy. So,
It's freedom.
love is freedom. And it's everywhere, absolutely. But what is truly love? What is, if we really look at the science and we combine the experience of love and science, how many of you knows about chakras? Chakras, few people? Okay. So, where does love sit? People who know chakras. Heart chakra. Where is the feeling? Speak up! Where is the feeling?
In our belly.
In our belly. So, it's action. Thank you. We're having here, feeling is down here, and I actually could not agree more than that. So this is where I see a lot of separation when people connect to love with a feeling. Feeling is in our sacral chakra.
But it's also chemical.
Absolutely. So it's basically down here, it's our water element. And water, can change anyway. And that's what drives the feelings. Heart is here. So when we speak from our heart, we know it. And each one of you know it when somebody speaks to you guys from the heart. Your heart has the wisdom. Your spirit lives in your hearts. And when you remain in that vibration of your heart, that's where you create everything in your life. Feeling, yes, I can feel amazing, but my bank account could be broken. I feel like amazing. I'm at the row fest, but then I have to worry to pay my bills. I'm gonna get my clients and all of that. It's for people who are into the energy space and people who really study the chakras, they will know the separation that happens. And there's a diaphragm between the solar plexus and the heart. And there's a reason why the deaf are going to see that. So going back to the story about the vibrational love, if you take that wave, and I would like you to imagine a circle around that. What does that represent now? From a track? What's that?
Electricity, isn't it?
That's the wave. And I put a circle around all of it. What does it remind you of?
A light bulb.
Light bulb.
Wait, let me do it for you guys. I'll just do it in here.
I don't think you can write on that.
I can write in here? No? Right, okay. We won't do it. So, I'm going to do it with my hands. We have time. We have a wave. And I put a circle around all of it. Can you visualize that for a second? You know what symbol is that? Which one? Infinite if we do this, correct. But I'm putting a whole circle around it. What does it remind you of?
Tau.
Huh?
Tau.
No. Yin Yang! Well done. What's your name? Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth. Indeed, that is the Yin Yang. It's actually totality of all of that. Because most people would relate to positive, negative, or the positive and negative. But love, the unconditional love, is the balance of all of it. So we tend to be programmed that when we love somebody, it's only the good things, but then we reject the other parts. So when we're talking about being vibrating at the right vibration, we need to really understand in that frequency what programming are we sending out and what we're receiving. I would like you to imagine yourself from today, when you go into your day-to-day life, you are a transmitter and receiver of information. And through your vibration, you constantly vibrate. Each one of you have experienced when you're sitting down next to somebody that you don't feel well. On the other hand, you feel amazing when you are next to that person. Any of you has read the book called Power versus Force? David Hawkins. It's actually interesting because I did not embrace my work as a healer and as a coach until I understood the science behind healing. Because I believed I could do more damage to people than good, until I understood truly scientifically how I can help people. So when I came across David's work, this is scientific work, it's been done around the planet, measuring the vibration that we actually emit. So earlier on, I did hear that love is higher vibration. Well, I will say to you now. Enlightenment is the highest vibration on the planet. Love is 500. Actually, they are measurements of each frequency. And each frequency, when we are at a lower vibration, when we have any negative thought, any experience, any subjections, any resistance that we create within ourselves, we dropped our vibration below 500. There's only about 12 people on the planet at the vibration of 700. There's nobody currently on our planet at the vibration of 1000, which is a true enlightenment. Joy sits around 250. Trust sits around 300. Love is the highest, 500 vibration. So for anybody in here who's done a lot of meditation, healing, and they truly, truly embrace themselves.
The question that's coming to me is, how do you know that there is no one there, and how do you know there are?
There's the research. There are people out there, scientists, who are totally researching this. They're looking after our planet. And having a scientific background, I'm constantly updated with that.
Can you give me some example where I can look up?
Yes, David Hawkins. I just mentioned it, yeah. So if you read that Power versus Force, and you will see the study which is done in the background, you will see that basically how we can actually measure that. We can measure it in ourselves. The problem that we have currently on our planet, we don't have enough technology to reflect who we are. So when we drop our vibration, imagine right now, I had a technology and I went next to you and I just scanned you. And literally I can see every thought, every emotion that's going through his body, every experience, every trauma that he's had. Because our body, it's simply a chip that you have on your computers, a memory bank. In that memory, everything sits and lives. And if somebody told you you're gonna get rid of your emotions, gonna get rid of your pain, gonna get rid of that, believe me, they're bullshitting. I'm sorry to say that. Everything sits in your body. But what you guys have, what you can change, is what? Way to face it. What else can you change?
Your vibration.
What we think about it. Was there something you said or no?
The perspective.
The programming, the perspective, the meanings. What else? What else can we change?
The vibration.
The vibration. How do we change vibration?
Drinking green
Choosing.
juice.
Drinking green juice. We at Rofest. Well done.
Drinking green juice.
Drinking green juice. We get back to that.
Your vibration up. Your light body vibration.
Absolutely, light body. We bring vibration. We
Green
can.
juice, folks. It's all in the green juice. Get
It's
that
all in the
right.
green juice.
Yeah, it's all in the green juice. That's where the light is.
That's where the light is. Well, it's green. How is the light in the green?
Because the light is reflected by the plant and stored as energy as light in chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is light.
Chlorophyll is light, and we are light.
Yes.
Here we go. Another person says we are light being.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's the green chakra.
Heart is the green chakra. Absolutely.
Yes. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you. And you're wearing a green t-shirt.
What's that?
You've got a green t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, what's your name?
I'm the wild grass messiah.
White,
Kaiser.
White Grass Messiah. Here we go.
That's right. I'm going to teach you about chlorophyll a little later. When you're interested, when you're ready.
When you're ready.
You look like Superman with a t-shirt like that.
That's right.
So let's go back into here. So if we're looking at what's really happening around us, just the same way we have now millions of channels on our planet. There's so much frequency. Each frequency carries specific message. We, each one of us, carry a specific message. And the question I have for you, where is that message comes from? Is it from your thoughts? How many of you think your messages come from your thoughts?
It's your body language.
Your DNA.
Body language, DNA.
It's actually coming from your higher self.
From your higher self.
From your higher self.
How many of you know your higher self then?
Right. I know my higher self.
I've got two people in here. If we don't know our higher self then,
But you do manifest who you are, who your body language.
how?
Moving, just in
Moving?
the way you... the way
Okay.
you-
So what do we change the way we manifest through moving?
Releasing tension.
We're losing tension,
Releasing tension.
releasing tension.
Yeah.
So basically we're releasing resistance.
Yeah.
What other ways can you guys release? What other ways do you think can you raise your own vibration? What makes you vibrate, guys? What makes you excited?
Meditation.
Meditation in this way. Anything else?
Happiness.
Happiness. But a lot of people in here, you know what? I observed something amazing today. Now, how many of you in that circle, I observed something? There was something missing from each one of you. What was that?
Outside there.
Yeah, who was in the circle outside? Okay, a few of you. What do you guys experience in that circle?
There was no connection between us.
There was no connection. How did you know that?
Just the words.
Ah, you felt it. Yet we pretend. We're so good at pretending. Unbelievable.
I would leave doors like that.
We pretend, and yet we want to be in that vibration of abundance. Yet we go to school, this is the formula, you guys need to do this, and this is what you're going to receive, you need to feel this way. And yet when you are in any moment in time, you pretend all the time. So, a lot of people in here, I will guarantee you, if you speak to one of you, each one of you, to each one of each other, everyone in here wants abundance and money. Yes? No? Yes? No? No, love, of course. We're talking about money now. You're here in the abundance workshop. So,
Consciousness.
Yeah, but sorry, but
consciousness is there.
abundance is not money.
Absolutely. We'll talk to that. We'll come that in there. But we said all the words in there. Yeah? And yet no one of you asked for money. Yet, without money, this event won't be up. Without money, you won't be wearing any of those clothes. Without money, you won't be even coming in here. So we're all searching for...
Currency,
Brilliant, but somebody had to pay for them.
but there's other currency besides money.
Absolutely, there's other currency. But we're talking about abundance in any forms. We're talking about for you to enter a vibration in which abundance lives. Because for each one of you, abundance could be something else. She mentioned happiness. But I will challenge that in some form. It's love. I will challenge the same thing. How many of you have been in a relationship and you've been made redundant and you couldn't pay your bills and you couldn't do anything and it caused you a problem? How many of you? I'm the only one? One? Anyone else? Okay, few of us. So believe me, anything that exists, you need to embrace it with both hands. Absolutely anything, every emotion, every thought, and everything else. But the difference is, if you guys want to raise your vibration into abundance, to actually attract the program that you guys want to live, each one of us has a different dreams. You made one on what? Yoga practice?
My dream?
Yes. What's your dream? Imagine I have a magic wand. Anybody knows the story of King Midas? I touch him and everything I touch turns gold. What would you like to have?
I'd like to have a rehab center.
Kundalini Yoga.
Rehab center.
Rehab center. Can you imagine the difference she can make? Can you imagine that? Okay.
I'm doing it.
You're doing it. Do you have it right now?
No,
I will get it. Okay. So can you imagine where abundance lives? For you to receive that, your vibration needs to be 500 above. And anything that we do on a daily basis, per moment basis, it affects that vibration. The universe works constantly signaling, and you signal back. And a lot of people I meet say law of attraction does not work. I said, okay, let's sit down and have a chat. Let's really find out what really you are signaling. What are you vibrating outside of your body? How many of you knows what vibrational hum is? Hum. We've got somebody in here who knows what I'm talking about. What does it mean? What's behind breath? Has anybody experienced that? It requires a practice. I meet many people who do yoga and do breath work and do this and do that, but they have never experienced the vibration that sits behind the breath.
When you talk about mantras or when you talk about breath, that's two different things.
Yes, I'm talking about beyond mantra, beyond vibration. When you create that stillness in yourself, that you are one with the universe, and you will sense that vibration in your heart. And that is what you're vibrating on a daily basis.
I had a very weird experience. I was doing a Vipassana course, and I was at the 8 days of meditation.
Yep.
I think I grasped it for
A few seconds?
A few seconds, it's probably a long time, like a millisecond, but it was a moment. That was not a moment, it was like
Time.
spent, and then I felt it, and then my mind said, I got it! And then
You're gone.
I was like excited, yeah, I got it!
Well, that is the relationship most of us have with life, frankly. When we can grab something and suddenly we lose it. But also, we live in a space and in an environment we constantly are focused outside of ourselves. Where we constantly think about things outside of ourselves, when we judge anything that is outside of ourselves. I see this day in and day out. And if you're honest with yourself, you'll actually see it in yourself. When you go somewhere, let's say you see somebody, how many of you are vegans in here? 2 people. Imagine right now somebody cuts an animal in here, in front of us. What would you guys think? Vegans, I'm asking the vegans. I won't be happy. You answered my question straight away. This is how we've been programmed to constantly think outside of ourselves. Yet, we talk about free will. Yet, we don't want anybody to interfere with our own free will. But we become so easy to judge somebody else's free will. Because in our awareness, it's right or wrong. So we live in that vibration, positive and negative. So if we look at ourselves as energy beings, and if we look at ourselves, most of ourselves, people who are in here, I've spoken to a few of you guys, we talk about our spiritual journeys. If we look from a spirit level, we're not thinking and we're not feeling. So the thought about judgment of an act which we perceive to be wrong comes only in our human experience. Spirit is infinite. It's infinite with its wisdom. It's infinite in the way it is. And it vibrates with the universe and travels in infinite space. Any of you does distant healing in here? A few of you. Any of you experience distant healing? A few of you, okay. So for you who have experience, have given distant healing, and for some of you who don't know what distant healing is, I can project myself anywhere, not just on our planet. And I can give healing and people will call me back, people who are on this planet, and they say, oh my God, you touched my head and you did this and you did that, and how is that possible? The answer is quantum physics. And each one of you, if you're really interested, you can learn about it. We have so much wisdom transcended on our planet. It's up to each one of us to really take that wisdom and do what we want to do with it. But it's not our job to tell anyone outside of ourselves how to live their lives. We can choose to be vegans, we can choose to be meat eaters, you can choose to be a doctor, we can choose to be a healer or yoga practitioners. It's our own soul's journey to create something. Of course there are blind spirits, and of course there's highest consciousness and fifth dimensions and many other dimensions. But that journey for you to experience what I'm talking to you about starts in yourself. That purification that needs to happen for you to raise your vibration and remain in that vibration, it's in ourselves. If I'm going to drop my vibration and I start looking at each one of you, and I can do actually that, I can actually give feedback to each one of you. It makes me, first of all, controlling person, because I haven't asked permission from any of one of you to do that. Secondly, I break the rule number one. Free will. So if you were to experience me right now, it's total stillness, even though I'm speaking to each one of you and I'm holding the attention to each one of you. And I'm literally seeing you as light beings, without the emotions, without the thought, without anything that you brought in your presence. And imagine for a second, how would your life change if you are to live from that space of lightness? When I take this example to powerful leaders who really don't understand the spirituality, I hit them up with science until they shut up and they listen to me for hours. So it's sort of, imagine for that second, you know, how many of you has had psychic attacks? Okay. How many of you experience spirits? Okay. So there are many different ways of dealing with that. And I went around the world to seek the best teachers to help me in that spiritual journey. Anybody heard of John of God in Brazil? Yeah? I'm one of the sons of the castle, and I work with the spirits down there, and I also do crystal healing in London. So they resurrected me down there, and they showed me multiple dimensions. And they showed me the Buddha, the Christ, every single spirit has been on this planet. And it was the most extraordinary experience. There's nothing, any movie has existed for me to see what I saw in Brazil. And I have this wonderful gentleman in here who was there with me experiencing all of that. And it really shifts your vibration. So if you want to shift your vibration to really true abundance, abundance is not here.
Where is it?
In you. Inside each one of us.
worth it?
We are worth it, absolutely. Because my formula in the corporate world, when I teach workshops in the corporate world, is your net worth is equal to your self-worth. So I take all these people in the corporate world and I look at each one of them, how they value themselves. And what is the priorities we give to that values. And I look at their beliefs, I look at the energy, I look at their spirit, and I look at what they're experiencing, the problems that they're experiencing. And I say to them, okay, there's a signal you guys are sending. And none of you, each one of you sense it. I can see it in your face. I can see it when you sit down next to a team which you don't like. But nobody is communicating. This is where the lower vibration in the chakra, which is the root chakra, the distrust, the fear. The moment fear kicks in, you are working from the lower part of your brain, which is our survival part of our brain. So the kind of vibration I'm talking to you about is bringing all of that in the frontal cortex of your brain, where you can access anything that you want. You empower your third eye, and you can travel wherever you want. And you can sense yourself. The other thing I also do is I'm part of the International Academy of Consciousness, and so is Farhan. And in there, there's one of the top scientists in the world called Valdo Vieira, where they teach people how to do an out-of-body experience. And when you do your first out-of-body experience, and when you leave this planet, your life shifts forever. And the way you look at people shifts forever. The way you look at yourself shifts forever. Because you see the infinite nature of your being. Some of you, if you've had traumas or accidents, you might have experienced what it is to be out of the body. Anybody of you? Out of body? Okay. So it's when we have that out of body experience, usually within our planet, people will have it when they have a trauma. I had that when I was a kid, but I did not know how to make sense of that because they would have put me in mental institution then. Or they would have cut part of my brain or something. But later on, I met a lot of teachers around the planet and doctors nowadays that they actually constantly have scientific evidence of people having out-of-body experiences. But when you start learning about being able to consciously take your spirit out of your body and you observe yourself and you observe the cord which links up the body and you can free yourself. But for you to really experience an out-of-body experience, first of all, you need to go through the layers within yourself. And the first one is intrusion. Do you know what I mean by that, intrusion? No? Okay. So we constantly intrude the space and the environment we interact and the people we interact. When we think about somebody, when we think, usually we use that when we love somebody or when we hate somebody. We constantly send thoughts. We all become spiritual beings, yet we're not adopting and acknowledging the effect of what we do. And the action on a daily basis that we do that has an impact in each one of us and in the entire planet and the entire consciousness for that matter. But nobody educates us that. I did not know that in my family background back in Macedonia. I had to learn and grow very fast and seek the best teachers of the planet who actually have a wisdom which goes beyond to what we are being taught on a daily basis. But each one of you has the ability to fine-tune that transmitter and receiver which is in ourselves. And number one to fine-tune that, it's to start creating the stillness that is required in yourself to be able to sense that vibrational hum and to be able to operate from a vibrational equilibrium. Because if we're going to be going like this all the time, that's what we're going to get in our lives. One day I want this, the other day I can't have it. One day this, the thoughts kick in. There's a problem in the society, there's a problem in the relationship, there's a problem at home, there's a problem in here, problem in there. All of those things are low vibration below 500. Imagine yourself for a second, when we are born, I have a glass of water, here we go. Imagine this was a clear glass. That's how we are born, very clean. And then one drop of ink will create the color. Our body, with everything we've experienced, creates that pollution in ourselves. We tend to be extremely conscious about the society, about our environment, and become very green. And we become vegans as well, and everything else. But how do we become green with ourselves? How much do we truly recycle the things that pollutes us? Yet we constantly try to change something outside of ourselves. So really changing that vibration inside of yourself, it's a process that each one of you can actually do if you choose to. 5 minutes. So to summarize the talk, I went around the world and I've been working for 25 years and I created a massive success in the corporate world. And I work in the IT, and from being on the streets, I created a big success. So parallel to that, I went around the world and worked with many teachers, including some you've been with, and Anthony Robbins and everything else. And literally, I really wanted to know that knowing that comes in my heart. And there's so much wisdom out there from many people, but the wisdom is fully inside of you. So I'm not here to give you fish, I'm not here to give you money, I'm not here to give you love and everything else, although I do it all the time. I'm here to inspire each one of you to be the fisherman who teaches how people can fish. Because when you become that light, when you radiate light, you do not need to control anybody who needs to come towards that light. Everyone will be drawn towards that light. So the process I've gone in myself and the process I take each one of my clients, it's about remaining in that vibration 500 and above. Because when you are light, you don't need to tell anybody you are light. And you don't need to prove that to anybody. And you don't need to seek anything outside of you. All you have to do is be present and shine. Just the way the sun shined today for us, just the way I observed how low the vibration was in that love circle. If each one of you gave 100%, you would see the vibration over there. And we all have that power. I went around the circle. I would say 50% looked into my eyes, 50% didn't. Anybody observe that as well? Okay. Did we really follow that instruction? That the lovely lady gave the instruction, I'm not sure what her name was. We didn't. This is where we're not truly being present. We go to workshops, we read books, we go to retreats, we go in everything else. But are we truly being in that moment and embodying the wisdom that comes in each moment in our life? Are we truly vibrating and literally regulating ourselves to be able to absorb anything that happens in that environment? Marina earlier mentioned about one experience, one sunshine, each one of us had a different experience. So really, it's sort of when we are being present, when we start that work in ourselves and we start working across our chakras and really clear out those issues, and I would say get rid of everything that we accumulated, everything that does not serve us, you free yourself to raise your vibration and to maintain that vibration. Because it's very easy for me to go into a peace place, zzz, or I go into 6 hours or 8 hours meditation, and I do that. And I do that, Farhan knows about that. And I can access multi-level dimensional beings and intelligent beings. But it's so easy to drop that vibration. One single thought, let's say I bought a juice outside, and the juice wasn't cold enough, drops my vibration instantly. The moment I judge something, the moment I perceive something that's wrong, I've dropped my vibration. So it's about building in yourself, not just the beliefs, not just the thought patterns, not just the emotions, not just the heart. That's our 4 chakras. Abundance comes from your throat chakra. when we can ask and receive. That's when it comes to truly being able to manifest things effortlessly. And some of you who know me, they know how I do that. When you have an open chakra, you literally today ask, tomorrow manifests. But I don't spend the time thinking how I'm going to get it. And I don't spend the time feeling how I'm going to feel about it. And I don't spend time with my heart either. Because all of them needs to be in that vibration. All of them needs to be in balance for the energy to flow. For me to connect to the source energy, that's where abundance lives. It does not live in any of us. Everything that we see, everything that we experience comes from that source. People admire cars, and then I ask them the question, who made the car? People admire iPads, and I said, well, who made the iPad? It came from here, from us. And where did we come from? And for some of you who've actually going through the spiritual journey, take the next step. Go and ask yourself, really, get that, if you have some time tonight, ask yourself, what can I recycle? And how can I stop intruding others? So the book that I wrote, A Path to Wisdom, which I have over there for any of you who wants more information or want a signed copy, it's a summary of how to raise the vibration using a unique 5-step methodology. The 5-step is actually 25 steps. I teach this to coaches, I teach this to therapists, healers, any of my clients. The first part is acknowledge. Many of you know the word acknowledge, but I would challenge you on that to acknowledge everything about you and really go deep within yourself. What am I acknowledging and what I'm not, and what I'm really bullshitting myself. The second part of the methodology is about raising the vibration to 500 and above, which is love energy. And how do we truly enter a space we constantly operate from compassion, heart, and love. The third part of the methodology is how do we go into a space where we want to achieve the things that we want to achieve in life. And each one of you has a spirit journey. Each one of you are here for a specific purpose on this planet. How do you connect to that voice? And the fourth part of the methodology is about how do we create the results. And the first part of that methodology is about, I take people through the first step, which is the resistance that we create within ourselves. One, you can go through resistance and really suffer for many lifetimes. And one, you can go straight into flow. And each one of you will know the answer what feels better. I don't really have to tell you that. And the fifth part, the 5 step you can go through, it's about how to create the mindset and how to be mindful in every moment in your life, in every second. When you create those together and you follow this very, actually, you know, it's the entire book is written for each person to go within themselves. It's not written in a way to tell anybody what to do. But it's for you to take those questions and ask yourself, and each one of you will experience a different shift in vibration and in energy. How do you then summarize that, embody that totally to hold the plate, which is balance, which is unconditional love, which is inner peace, which is abundance of anything that you want, which is that channel in which you can vibrate in frequency with the universe. Because everything exists right here, right now. So in that vibration, when you tune yourself in, you can truly receive what each one of you wants to have in your life. Some might be relationship, some might be children, some might be yoga center. For me, it's like, you know, spreading my message and empowering every single leader on the planet, empower every single child. And I believe in peace. So my entire message for the world and for you guys is inner peace. When we have inner peace, we have peace with every human being and animal and our environment in our entire planet. We vibrate at a frequency which now resonates above love. So my message to you guys, when you acknowledge your love, you achieve results and you create your miracles. Thank you. I'm just gonna ask, anybody has any questions before I pass the mic?
Yeah, like 2 minutes?
2 minutes, questions. Okay, here we go. I've got 2 minutes, guys. 120 seconds.
Serious 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Sorry, what's your name?
Dan.
Dan. Hello, Dan.
Dan. I've known what I've wanted. I've known what I've wanted very clearly, and I've got somewhere near to it. What's the next step for taking on what you speak of? Do you offer one-on-one coaching?
Yeah, I mean, you can come and speak to me. By all means, I do a lot of coaching with entrepreneurs, with CEOs, with leaders, with healers, with everything. Helping people align themselves with the existential program of their own spirit. Any questions? Sorry, what's your name?
Thanks, Eddie.
Eddie, hello.
Hi.
Eddie with a close given.
So much more given than that. And it's not so much a question like this, what you do is not something else because it's a big problem. Which is there's this guy who shares the house with me, and I'm going to say he lowers my vibration a lot because I think a lot of those thoughts about it.
Brilliant, Eddie. I love it. The reason I love this question is basically it highlights two things. One is about Eddie.
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yes, sure. Eddie is living with a guy in a house, flat share or house share?
It's a funny.
Family house, which basically Eddie feels currently that he lowers his vibration. And I think earlier on we asked about external influences on ourselves when we have all of that. So we will always have environment around us. And your issue right now, I would say to you straight away, control, without going into the details. Do you know why?
I'm going to guess it's like controlling my emotions.
Okay? But even in your speech, when you said to me, I have somebody in my house that lowers my vibration, who's in charge? No, you're not. You're bullshitting yourself. He's in charge because every time he'll do something, your emotions go crap. So you're not in charge. So take ownership, take your power, man.